You clean up your diet, cut back on junk, maybe even buy the healthy version of everything, and your belly still feels like the last place that changes. Then you hear that certain foods can help reduce visceral fat, and it sounds too simple. So what do these foods actually do inside your body? And why does one of the most useful ones surprise almost everyone? If you've tried to eat better before, you've probably run into this exact wall. You swap obvious junk for foods that look cleaner, lighter, or lower calorie. You try to be more disciplined, but your cravings still show up, your energy still dips, and fat around the midsection seems unusually stubborn. Most people miss this. The main mechanism underneath that pattern is insulin resistance. A lot of people think visceral fat is mostly a calorie problem, when very often it's also a signal problem driven by how your body handles fuel. That is why generic eat healthy advice often falls flat. It may reduce effort in one area while doing almost nothing to improve the mechanism that keeps storage pressure high. This isn't about instant results, it's about shifting signals over time. In this video, I'll show you why 5 specific foods can support better fuel handling, steadier appetite signals, and lower storage pressure, plus which one helps for a reason most people never think about. Think about what stubborn visceral fat often feels like in real life. You eat what seems like a decent meal, then, not long after, your energy drops, your focus gets fuzzy, and you start wanting something sweet or salty again. That pattern is not random. One major reason is insulin resistance. Think of insulin like a delivery driver. Its job is to move fuel out of the bloodstream and into cells that can use it. When that signal works well, energy gets handled more smoothly. When cells stop responding as well, more fuel stays in circulation longer than it should. Then the body has to compensate. A common response is to keep insulin higher for longer, just to manage the same meal. Over time, that raises storage pressure, especially around the organs, where visceral fat tends to build. This is not a motivation problem. It is a traffic problem inside the system. That same pattern can also make appetite feel less reliable. Blood sugar becomes less steady, energy feels uneven, and meals stop feeling as satisfying as they should. You are not just hungry. You often feel like the meal did not quite do its job. That is why certain foods can matter more than people expect. The right foods do not only reduce calories, they can slow the rise, improve satiety, and make the signal easier for the body to handle. So, when insulin resistance keeps showing up, your body learns to keep storage pressure high, and that helps explain the hunger swings, energy dips, and belly fat that seem disconnected on the surface. But why does this keep happening even when someone is trying to eat better? Your body does not only react to calories, it reacts to patterns. When meals keep producing sharp rises in glucose and insulin, and recovery signals stay weak, the body starts acting like it needs to store first and trust later. In that environment, the liver, muscle, fat tissue, gut, and brain stop coordinating as smoothly. One signal says you have enough fuel. Another says keep eating. One part of the system wants stable energy. Another part keeps preparing for the next spike. That internal mismatch is a big part of why visceral fat builds so easily. It often grows in a body that's getting mixed messages all day. Now add inflammation. Add poor fiber intake. Add meals that digest fast but do not satisfy for long. The delivery driver from earlier is still there, but now the roads are crowded, the receivers are less responsive, and the message arrives late. That's when healthy eating can still fail if the foods do not improve the signal quality underneath. Here is a simple self-check. If a meal leaves you sleepy, hungry again soon, or craving dessert right after, That can be a clue that fuel handling is still off. And those patterns do not just feel bad. Versions of them show up in measurable changes in abdominal fat, glucose control, and inflammatory markers. Think about that meal that looks healthy, but leaves you hungry again too soon. In 2021, Kahn and colleagues in the Journal of Nutrition studied adults with overweight and obesity and found that daily avocado intake was linked to a shift in abdominal fat distribution in women, including lower visceral abdominal fat. For you, that means a food that improves fullness and slows the meal response may help lower storage pressure, not just help you eat less. That effect was not identical in everyone, and the trial did not show clear improvements in peripheral insulin sensitivity. Now think about the broader pattern, when food quality improves the system instead of only cutting calories. In 2022, Zellica and colleagues in BMC Medicine reported that a high polyphenol Mediterranean diet reduced visceral adiposity in the Direct Plus trial. For you, that means better food quality can change belly fat biology over time. That pattern builds gradually, not overnight. Fix the signal. The results will follow. What this means is that if you want to improve the pattern behind visceral fat, you need foods that support the mechanism, not just foods that sound healthy. And here are 5 practical ways to do that. Starting today. One of these matters for a reason most people do not expect. Start with beans. They can help because their fiber and slow-digesting carbohydrate often make a meal easier to handle and more filling afterward. A practical starting point is about half a cup at lunch or dinner in place of part of a refined starch. If your gut is sensitive, start smaller and build slowly. In the first day, many people notice a steadier afternoon and less urge to snack. After 1 to 2 weeks, meals often feel more filling and easier to manage. This supports better signals over time. It does not promise immediate fat loss. Lentils deserve their own spot because they do a similar job in a very practical way. For many people, they are one of the easiest high-fiber foods to turn into a repeatable meal, especially in soups, bowls, or warm salads. A good place to start is about half a cup in place of part of a rice, pasta, or bread-heavy meal. If you are not used to high-fiber meals, increase gradually. A fast sign they are helping may be fewer cravings later in the day. After 1 to 2 weeks, many people notice less rebound hunger. This helps shift the pattern gradually. It does not force a quick result. Next is plain Greek yogurt. This works through a different lane. The protein can improve satiety, and fermented dairy may work well for some people as a steadier option than a sweet breakfast or processed snack. A simple place to start is 1 unsweetened serving at breakfast or in the afternoon. If dairy does not work for you, skip it or test a lactose-free option. A useful early sign is feeling less snacky after eating it. After 1 to 2 weeks, many people notice more stable appetite and fewer impulsive food decisions. This is about improving the setup, not changing your body overnight. Then come berries. They matter because they combine fiber with polyphenols, which may help support a steadier meal response and a lower inflammatory load over time. Keep it simple. Add about 1 cup to yogurt, oats, or a balanced meal instead of making juice or dessert the sweet part of the day. Frozen berries work well too. If you use glucose-lowering medication, think about the whole meal, not just the berries on their own. The fast micro-win is that meals often feel more satisfying without the same rebound hunger. After 1 to 2 weeks, many people notice fewer dessert cravings. This helps support better signals, not instant belly fat change. The 5th food is avocado. It works by slowing the meal down and helping hunger stay quieter afterward. Try adding 1/4 to a half avocado to a meal that usually leaves you hungry again too soon, especially lunch. If you're tracking calories closely, replace something else rather than stacking it on top. In the first day, many people notice a smoother gap between meals. After 1 to 2 weeks, grazing often becomes easier to control. This may help lower storage pressure over time. It does not melt visceral fat on command. If you have diabetes, prediabetes, significant reflux, inflammatory bowel conditions, kidney disease, or you use glucose-lowering medication, some of these foods may need to be adjusted to fit your situation. If belly fat is changing along with rapid weight gain, severe fatigue, unusual thirst, or major shifts in blood pressure or digestion, that is worth bringing to a clinician. And if progress feels slow, that does not mean you're doing it wrong. In people with more insulin resistance or long-standing obesity, these signals often take longer to shift. That is biology, not failure. One quick safety note here. This is general science education, not personal medical advice. If you have a medical condition, take medication, or have blood sugar, gut, kidney, or pregnancy-related concerns, talk with your doctor before making meaningful changes to your diet. The big idea is simple. These foods do not matter because they are special fat-burning foods. They matter because they may improve some of the signals that visceral fat tends to grow around. Unstable glucose handling, weaker satiety, higher inflammatory load, and meals that do not keep the system calm for long. That is why this works better as a pattern than as a single food list. Beans help slow the traffic. Lentils do the same in a practical, repeatable way. Greek yogurt can help anchor appetite. Berries support signal quality. Avocado helps the meal last longer. And when those changes start working together, the whole day often gets easier to manage. Here is the part to remember. Do not ask whether a food is healthy in general. Ask what it may improve in your body after you eat it. There are more everyday foods and habits that look harmless on the surface, but quietly push your metabolic signals in the wrong direction. And that is exactly what this channel keeps unpacking. So if you want clear, science-based explanations that turn confusing health advice into practical steps you can actually use, subscribe. That way, you'll keep learning how to work with your biology instead of blaming yourself for it.